Hi everyone, this is Selvi. Today's topic is what is called as commitment reliability or say-do ratio. In sprint planning meeting, as a team, we commit on a sprint goal. We align to a sprint goal with the help of the product owner, and as a team, we commit on that goal. And to achieve that goal, whatever the work items that will be helpful, we will be picking those work items and create the sprint backlog. So the sprint backlog gets executed during the sprint cycle. When we say these work items, all these work items are estimated with the help of story points. Now, during the refinement meeting, backlog refinement meeting, when as a team we are completely having the clarity about the work items, the next step is to estimate the work items. So what we will be doing? We will give the story points based on the risk involved, dependencies involved, complexity, and of course the effort plus the business value that the work item is going to deliver. Based on these factors, we will be estimating the work item. So the backlog refinement meeting's outcome is the stories that were earlier not estimated and having lot of doubts and lot of uncertainties. Now we have clarified everything and we were able to estimate it, and we will be getting estimated story points as well for the work items. Now we have committed for the sprint, and the sprint backlog has certain work items. Like say for example, there are 6 user stories the team is going to work on this sprint. So these are the 6 work items that the team is committing to achieve that goal. So every work item, that is every user story, already has a story point. Like for easy calculation, I am going to consider that every story is actually estimated with 5 story points. So now all these committed work items are going to deliver at the end of the sprint 30 story points, right? So the team is committing on 30 story points to deliver as part of the sprint. Now we got the fair understanding about what we are committing. Just in a nutshell, I'm just going to repeat again. From where the story points are going to come? The story points are given to the work items during the backlog refinement meeting after getting the complete understanding of the work items. So already we know where the story points are coming from. And how are we preparing the sprint backlog? During the sprint planning meeting, as a team, we are coming up with the sprint goal aligned with the product owner and commit on that sprint goal. To achieve that sprint goal, we are picking up certain work items and making that a sprint backlog. So these work items are coming from where? The product backlog. The product backlog has the work items that are refined during the backlog refinement session, right? So now the story points are available. So I have picked 6 stories which are having 5 story points each. I'm just trying to connect the dots here so that we are able to revise the already discussed topics like product backlog, what is backlog refinement session, what is story point estimation, and what is sprint goal, what is sprint backlog. All those things we are connecting. And if any one of you have not listened to those episodes, I request you all to listen to those so that you will get much more understanding about this topic. So now coming back to the topic. So now we know in this sprint, as a team, we are committing on 6 user stories, and these 6 user stories are actually having story points 5 each, 5 story points each. So summation of these story points is 30 story points. So team is committing on 30 story points. So we got one parameter, that is committed story points. Now sprint is getting executed. At the end of the sprint, unfortunately, because of certain situations, we were unable to deliver 3 user stories. 3 user stories are in progress, or 2 user stories are in progress, and one even we have not even started. which means 3 work items are going to be spill over to the upcoming sprint. Now, what is going to happen? At the end, we were able to achieve only 15 story points, which means 3 stories. As we already discussed, every story is having 5 story points. So 5 plus 5 plus 5, that is equal to 15. 15 story points we were unable to deliver. Now, how to calculate commitment reliability? Commitment reliability formula is very simple. Whatever we have achieved divided by whatever we have committed. What we have achieved? 15 story points. What we have committed? 30 story points. 15 divided by 30. In percentage, which is equal to 50%. So, out of the commitment, whatever as a team that we have done, in that only 50% we were able to achieve. If in case at the end of the sprint, all the 30 story points, all the user stories we have completed, that means 30 divided by 30, which is equal to 100%. So the commitment reliability of the team is 100%. Commitment reliability is also called as say-do ratio. Why say-do ratio? As the name explains, whatever I am saying, I am going to do that. Or whatever I am committing, I am going to achieve that. That's why the name commitment reliability or say-do ratio. How well I am reliable, I means here as a team, how well as a team we are reliable to the commitment. How well as a team, what we say we are doing. That is called as commitment reliability or say-do ratio. This always we put it in percentage just to explain it in a better way, how much we are able to achieve on the commitment. What is the benefit of this? What is the use of calculating this? As we all know, we try to foresee how our upcoming sprints are going to be executed, or how well we are able to achieve the things in our upcoming sprints. For that planning, this is going to be very helpful, because as a Scrum Master, it is very, very important always to foresee and forecast the things. If there is a release that is coming up, we are doing a plan. For example, there is a MVP release, which we are planning, it will take so and so time. But always we use velocity, average velocity to foresee the plan, right? Like, okay, every sprint, this is the velocity my team is going to run with. So I can plan for these many sprints. In addition to that, to plan buffer, to plan extra time, to understand how much buffer we need to plan, this commitment reliability is going to help. Because always to plan the buffer in the overall project timeline or any timeline, we need to have some logic behind it. We cannot just say 5%, 10%. So always when we are using these kind of timeline calculation, it is very, very important on what basis we are bringing up the buffer time. So the buffer time or the extra time in the overall timeline when we are actually planning it, we really can use this commitment reliability. That means 50%, because team is very new and the work items are not in so stable state. It is still getting into the state of maturity. So now we cannot expect things to go on a very smooth basis, but it will eventually going to be better. That's what we are going to try. So we will be able to understand with this metric called commitment reliability or say-do ratio, where are the challenges coming from? Why team is unable to achieve the committed things? So these kind of questions will help us also to brainstorm and understand the actual root cause of the problem. And in addition to that, to plan any timeline or foresee and forecast any of the things, this commitment reliability is going to be a guiding factor for us to plan the timeline. So this is the advantage of calculating this. This is not just a metric. What is the whole purpose of calculating this is, it is going to be helpful for us to understand What is the root cause behind this? Why we are unable to achieve whatever we are committing? Are we overcommitting? Maybe possible, right? Or our estimation is not that great. We are believing that we are doing the estimation right, but actually we underestimate on the things that may actually take more time, or we are not considering risk or dependencies during our estimation. We just go with only effort, and during the execution we face problem. That's the reason we don't know. So estimation may not be in the right form, or we always commit too many things thinking that we will be able to manage it, or are we not considering the capacity factor at all? The team's capacity may be something, but we think that no, we can commit on so many things. Are we ignoring the capacity factor? And are we not taking the guidance of velocity? Because team always runs with certain speed. Are we trying to take that flavor when we are committing on the work items? May not be. So there can be different reasons, but this metric or this particular calculation is definitely going to help us to understand where we are lagging. And this eventually going to help us to streamline the things that already we have planned as an overall timeline. Because we would have planned these many sprints, but every time if we are only delivering 50% of what we are committing, then instead of 10 sprints, I may be in need of 20 sprints to achieve the overall plan. Then my overall plan and overall MVP release is going to be in a difficult situation. So in every sprint, what we are doing and where all the places we have trouble, we need to identify. So this particular metric is definitely going to help us to understand that. So in a nutshell, commitment reliability or say-do ratio is calculated with the help of achieved story points divided by committed story points. And this metric is going to be captured at the end of every sprint to understand what are the challenges that team is facing because of which they are unable to achieve the committed work items. I think this would have helped many of you, and this is a very important metric. We will definitely see many other calculations and many other metrics that is going to help us to manage our sprints and timeline and ensure that team is able to focus on the work in a better way. For all those things, we will be going through different metrics, but this metric is all about commitment reliability or say-do ratio. Thanks everyone for listening. Happy learning and stay tuned.